In November of 2023, I was scouted by a big modelling agency, and after meeting with them I was tasked with toning up, aka getting shredded, aka losing a bit of body fat. And I had 6 weeks to do it, and 6 weeks later I got diced. I was a lean, mean fighting machine, and I ended up getting signed to that agency in January 2024. However, after a few weeks of being more relaxed on my diet, the pounds piled back on. Well, not really, but I did lose that conditioning. How will I ever get it back? In this short documentary, I will be sharing with you my 6-week body transformation, getting back to those lower body fat levels and improving my conditioning. I will be detailing my experiences and giving some tips and tricks along the way. Hey everyone, so this is me checking in at week 1 of my cut. This is the starting point. Now, by no means have I fallen off the wagon, by no means am I out of shape. You know, I'm pretty lean, I'm pretty athletic looking, but my conditioning just isn't there if I want to go to castings with other swimsuit models, because I'm going to look like I am out of shape compared to them. So I know the plan with my agency is to get me some swimsuit modelling work, and so I do need to be more conditioned, and I have a fair bit of work to do to get there. When embarking on a quest to lose body fat, you first have to sit down and do some simple math, because ultimately it is a numbers game. Calories in must be less than calories out. How I do this is by figuring out what my maintenance calories are. Your maintenance calories are the calories that you need to stay alive. These would be the calories that you burn on a regular day when you're doing your normal day-to-day activities, without adding on any other exercise that you've done throughout the day, whether that be extra cardio or strength training. An easy way to calculate your maintenance calories is by tracking the number of calories that you eat every day during a week and recording whether or not you gain or lose weight. Most likely, if you're eating intuitively, you probably won't gain any weight, you probably won't lose any weight, you are likely to be at your maintenance. This is a good way of finding out what your approximate maintenance calories are. Now that you've got your maintenance calories, you want to subtract about 500 from it. And this will put you in a 500 calorie caloric deficit. Over the course of a week, which is 7 days, you'll then be in a caloric deficit of 3,500 calories, which is equivalent to 1 pound of body fat, aka 0.5 kg or 0.4 kg of body fat. Some people like to go a little bit bigger into their deficit. They like to do about 1,000 calories. Now, over a short period of time, if your cut is about 4 to 6 weeks, then this is most likely going to be okay. But if you go for an extended period of time, being in a larger caloric deficit is going to affect your hormones. It's going to increase the likelihood of you losing muscle mass, not to mention the fact that it's just going to be a bit less fun. Equally though, you don't want to be in a really small caloric deficit, because if you go too small, then you're not going to see the changes that you want to see in the time frame that you set yourself. It's going to take a lot longer. It's all well and good having the theory, but to actually put it into practice is a different story. Let me just share how I managed to set everything up and actually follow my caloric deficit. So when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is drink about 2 litres of water, and with this 2 litres of water, which is usually filtered, I add a little bit of pink Himalayan salt and just a squidge of lemon and hydrate myself, because overnight you're going to be a bit dehydrated, aren't you? And so when you wake up, the last thing you want to do is eat straight away or drink caffeine. You actually want to hydrate first, and then a good 90 to 120 minutes after I've woken up, I will then have my first drink, which is black coffee, and this will just help give me some alertness for the day, for the tasks that I have ahead, but also it just helps blunt my appetite so I don't get super hungry. Then I'll have my first meal around 12 to 12:30. Now, a lot of people in the fitness industry will hear this and they'll say,
"What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Oh my gosh, why aren't you eating breakfast? You shouldn't be skipping breakfast. It's going to hinder your metabolism and you're not going to be able to burn as much fat. You're going to store fat during that period that you're fasting." And I'm just like, that is absolute rubbish, for one thing. I mean, I just feel like breakfast is a bit of a scam. Like, you can have breakfast. I mean, I have enjoyed breakfast in the past and I still enjoy breakfast, but when I'm trying to diet down, I can be hungry. during the day, I just can't go to bed hungry. So instead of having 4 or 5 small meals which aren't going to leave me satiated throughout the day, I actually followed this fasting protocol, which is also known as the Lean Gains protocol, where you fast for 16 hours and you eat for an 8-hour window. Hey guys, just me checking in for week 2 of my 6-week body transformation, and you can see that things are shaping up. I can normally guesstimate how lean I am, or whether I am actually getting lean or not, depending on how well my lower abs show. So you can kind of see that they're starting to pop a little bit more, particularly when I flex. And I'm on about 2,600 calories a day, not excluding any activity I do, any extra like exercise or any extra steps. And the first 2-3 weeks are usually pretty breezy. It's week 4, 5 and 6 that your body is like, hang on, I'm actually quite hungry, and things get a little bit harder. So I'm back from a grocery haul, and I thought it might be useful for me to show you guys what I buy on a weekly shop. You need to set yourself up for success when dieting. So if you buy the right foods, then it's going to make things easier when you're trying to diet that week. If you don't buy the right foods, then there's more of a chance that you're going to order a takeout, or you're going to cheat on your diet. We've got this section, we've got the vegetables. I bought some potatoes. Potatoes are great. They are a very filling carbohydrate because there's just water and fiber, and so you can make your own potato chips with minimal oil, and it's actually very tasty. Talking through another set of carbohydrates, I've got pasta here. Now I eat pasta sparingly when I'm dieting because pasta is not very filling and it's very calorifically dense. We've also got rice in storage, so I eat rice as well, but again sparingly because it's relatively calorically dense, so you can eat a lot of rice and not feel that full. Muffins, they are good because I can make my egg white and turkey McMuffin at home, no cheese because I'm slightly dairy intolerant. And that actually explains why I've got oat milk instead of regular milk. Goes great in coffee and tea. Seeded burger buns, and these go really well with the Beyond Meat burgers. They go really well with any sort of burger. I make chicken thigh burgers with these as well, so absolutely delicious. Of course, I've got my King's Meal 50-50, best of both. I make a sandwich that I have just before the end of a work day when working at my physio job. So around 3:30, 4 p.m, that's when I'll have like a tuna and sweet corn sandwich. Good protein. Another source of carbohydrates, pop chips. These are a game changer, right? 100 calories per 23 gram serving. So basically the whole bag is about 300, 400 calories. These need to go in the freezer pretty soon. These whole strawberries go really well in a smoothie, and in oats if I decide to make oats. Of course, bananas, apples, oranges, spinach again goes really well in a smoothie or in an omelette. Arrabbiata pasta sauce to go with the pasta. I've also got this minted lamb kebab, which has pretty good macros to be fair. Per 2 kebabs is about 10 grams of fat. Turkey rashers, great protein source. I did want a sirloin steak, but this is all they had, so I had to pay £7 for a bit of organic ribeye. Got my chicken breast. I've got this green smoothie, which I really like drinking. The only smoothie that tastes better than this is the one that you get at Pret a Manger, plus like an orange one, which actually tastes the best. 6 packs of chicken ramen meal kit, which I make chicken ramen, like chili chicken ramen with the chicken breast. So I have 1 chicken breast each with each portion. This is absolutely delicious, very filling. And of course, because it's the soup base, it's low in calories but high in protein. So yeah, that is a weekly food shop. So you set yourself up for success by buying the right foods. This is what I get. This is week 3 of my physique update check-in, and you can kind of see there's some shape and definition coming now into the abs. This is very evidently a relaxed kind of pose where I'm not tensing my abs, I'm just showing you what I look like. Relaxed first thing in the morning, no pump whatsoever, and now I'm flexing a little bit just to show you how my abs actually take shape when I flex a little bit, showing you what happens when I actually try and make my muscles look a little bit more defined. Obviously the lighting isn't the best in here, but I'm trying to keep it pretty consistent in terms of lighting, and I'm pretty happy with the results. The diet's not been super hard recently, but it will get hard in the next kind of 2-3 weeks, so I'm really looking forward to that. And yeah. Alright, so week 3. In today's little segment, I want to talk about the importance of strength training when in a caloric deficit. So you might have seen it when people go on these crash diets and they lose a whole bunch of weight. But what actually happens is they're losing a lot of muscle mass. They're not losing the right kind of weight. Yes, they're probably losing a bit of body fat as well, and as well as water weight, but a lot of it will be muscle mass. And the reason for this is because a lot of them don't strength train. Your body is extremely intelligent. It knows how to survive. That's why we are the most successful creatures on the face of this planet at the moment. Our bodies know what to do when we're in starvation mode, and anytime you drop your calories, you are telling your body that you're in starvation mode. Your body will therefore pick the easiest path to survival. We know that muscle is very metabolically active, and as a result, if you're in a caloric deficit, your body will try to get rid of the muscles first because they consume the most energy. So how can you mitigate this? You can strength train, you can do resistance training. This will help you cling on to that precious muscle mass. There was a study conducted a good 10-15 years ago. It had two groups of men. One group of men was not allowed to strength train and was put on a caloric deficit. And the other group of men were also in a caloric deficit, the same caloric deficit, but they were allowed to strength train. What they found was that the men who were able to strength train, the men who were permitted to strength train, actually hardly lost any muscle mass compared to the men who were not allowed to strength train. And so I like to use this analogy. Muscles are like your girlfriend or your wife. If you want them to stay, you have to treat them well. Because if you don't treat them well, they're going to leave you. That's the same with muscles. You've got to give them that love, that attention. You've got to give them that stimulus, that reason to stay. And that's what we do with strength training. So when in a caloric deficit, I'd recommend at least 2 strength training sessions a week, at the very least 2. 1 upper body, 1 lower body. Of course, if you really enjoy the gym, you can do 3 to 4 sessions a week. If you've been training for a little while and you are progressively getting stronger, when you go on a cut, it won't be as easy. You're going to have to fight for every rep. It's going to be a bit of a battle of attrition. You have still got to be aiming to get stronger each time. If you're a new lifter, if you have those newbie gains, then actually you probably will get stronger even in a caloric deficit, and you'll probably put on muscle, which is absolutely insane. But that's just what I want to talk about today. I'll catch you guys in the next segment. Alright, so this is my week 4 check-in, and I'm not going to lie to you, the diet is starting to get a little bit harder. I am feeling more hungry more often, and I feel like I've got to a point with my physique where I could stop here. Like, I'm pretty lean, borderline shredded. This lighting isn't great, but you'll see in some of the progress photos where I have a little bit more down lighting, you can see that I am actually very, very lean, and my veins are showing just kind of around my abs. So I could stop here, but I am not going to. I'm going to push through, keep going, and into the best shape of my life. So week 4 check-in, you can see I've been making good progress with my cut, and in today's little video journal, I want to share some diet tips. Meal timings are important. Weirdly, our bodies learn routine and know what times that we should be eating. So for example, if you eat at 7:30 p.m. every day for dinner, on one particular day, if you're eating around 5 p.m, you are still going to be hungry at 7:30 p.m. Studies have also found that your stomach is around 5 to 10 minutes behind your brain or your mind. So by eating slower, we give our bodies time to actually realize when they are full so that we don't overeat. Things that you can do: chew your food more. Chew your food for around 20 to 25 chews before swallowing, and drink a nice glass of water before you have your meal. And also continually drink water when you're having your meal. Other things that might help are eating your meals with other people so that you have no choice but to talk. And when you're talking, you're going to be eating slower, slowing everything down. If you're dieting and you want to be able to eat out, you can. There is such a thing as flexible dieting, or if it fits your macros. The only caveat to this is when you go to a restaurant, realize that they're going to be putting more carbs and fats in your food. So you need to save up your carbs and fats, your calories, for later on in the day if you're going out for dinner, and eat higher protein, higher fiber, lower carb, lower fat. I will catch up with you guys in week 5. Alright, welcome back to my weekly check-ins, and this is the start of week 5. Things are going well. I'm definitely starting to feel more and more hungry now, so it's definitely getting a bit harder. Fortunately, I've not lost any strength in the gym. I'm still getting stronger, so I reckon this translates into losing mostly body fat and maintaining most of my muscle mass. And you can see my physique is shaping up. My lower abs are becoming more defined. 2 more weeks left of the cut. I'm looking forward to being done. Very much looking forward to being done and to see the end result. So in week 5's little segment, I want to talk about cardiovascular activity. Should you do it? or not? Now, of course, there is a pretty simple answer to whether you should do cardiovascular activity, and as a fitness enthusiast and physiotherapist, I would say yes, it's very important to do cardiovascular activity of some sort to keep your heart healthy. But we're talking about cardio for the purposes of losing weight, losing fat, specifically to help you set up your caloric deficit. So if that's purely the only reason that you're doing cardio, if you're just trying to get more calories, then cardio or extra cardio is not the solution to the problem, because cardiovascular activity will upregulate your appetite. It will make you more hungry, so there's more of a chance that you will overeat. You'll eat more calories than you would have otherwise done had you not done that extra cardio. So here's what to do instead. So we have something called NEAT, which is non-exercise activity thermogenesis. NEAT is the number of calories that you burn while not doing any sort of activity, any exercise. That could be things like cleaning around the house, that could be painting, that could be going for a food shop, going for a walk, taking your dog for a walk. A better way to get more calories is to increase your NEAT. So you actually have burnt more calories because you've gone on this 5-mile walk. You can calculate the number of calories that you actually get from doing 10,000 steps. So 5 from the 5 miles times by your body weight in kilograms. So for me, it'd be 80, 81. Let's just say 80 because it's better to sort of underestimate than overestimate. 5 times 80 is 400. So that's about 400 calories extra that I would get. And the great thing about NEAT, the great thing about walking 10,000 steps is it's not going to upregulate your appetite. You're not going to be more hungry. To conclude, if you're thinking about doing extra cardio purely for the purpose of getting more calories, burning more calories, then it's probably better that you increase your NEAT, increase your number of steps. And if you want to do cardio to keep your heart healthy, a byproduct of that will be you do get more calories anyway, but if you're looking at keeping your heart healthy, then doing cardiovascular activity is going to help, particularly high intensity interval training. I'll catch you guys at the start of week 6. Hello and welcome back to my weekly check-ins. This is the start of week 6 and you can see that I'm lean enough now to the point where when I'm not flexing, my lower abs are pretty visible. And of course, now I'm about to flex, so you can see what they look like. The lighting, again, as I said, is never the best, but I thought I'd try and keep things consistent. I've increased my caloric deficit by another 100 calories to try and speed up the rate of fat loss. And at this point, there's only 1 week to go, so just gotta grin and bear it, and I'm just so close to getting to that point that I want to be. Okay, so you guys saw the start of my week 6 check-in. Honestly, things have not been super easy in the last 2 weeks. Like, they started off quite easy, and now they're getting harder in terms of I'm getting more hungry, I'm feeling a little bit more fatigued. The cut is starting to affect my strength, but fortunately, I finished my 4-week strength cycle, so this next week will be deloading. What I want to talk about in today's segment is what to do if you mess up. So as I said, these last 2 weeks have not been the easiest, and there might have been one day when I went slightly over my calories. In fact, yesterday I went slightly over my calories because I ended up ordering a takeout and I ate 1 extra piece of sushi or 2 extra pieces of sushi that maybe I shouldn't have had, and as a result I was 180 calories over my allowance, which is not the end of the world. A lot of people feel like if they go over the calories or if they properly mess up. Fortunately for this dieting cycle, I haven't properly messed up. Like, I haven't gone on a crazy bender and eaten loads of junk food and significantly gone over my calories, but I have done in the past, and I really want to just offer some words of encouragement. You don't need to give up. It is not the end of the world if you end up cheating on your diet for 1 day. And something that Brandon Carter, or Big Brandon Carter, who's an OG fitness YouTuber, said in one of his eating right for 1 day is not going to undo weeks or months or years of having a bad diet, right, of a poor lifestyle. In the same way, if you eat poorly on 1 day, if you cheat on your diet on 1 day, it's not going to mess up. It's not going to ruin weeks or months of hard work. Okay, so that's something you need to bear in mind. Here's what to do if you end up cheating on your diet. Recognize that you are fallible, you're human, you make mistakes, and also acknowledge that you've been in a caloric deficit for the past 5-6 days. Okay, so 1 day of cheating is not going to ruin anything. Don't try and calculate the calories that you've gone over and then eat less the next day, because there's no point, right? You just need to forget about it, forgive yourself, and move on and continue as normal. You have barely halted your progress. You might have gone over your calories by about 500, and that's probably the deficit that you're in. So you're probably in maintenance that day, or if you've really overdone it, maybe you've gone 500 calories over your maintenance, which is an extra 1,000 calories, which is not even equal to a pound of fat, which is 3,500 calories. So you don't even need to worry about it. Just continue as normal the next day, get back on track. Realize that any weight you put on from that cheat day is not actually body fat, but it's just water retention, bloating, because you probably consumed a lot of sodium. Anyway, I'll catch you guys at the end of week 6. I'm so excited. Hello everyone, just checking in at the end of week 6, and I'm pretty happy with how things have turned out. I'm pretty happy with my lower ab definition. I can tell I'm getting very, very lean when the veins and the lower abs start to pop out. Obviously I have a 6-pack, but the last bottom 2 abs, like what would be an 8-pack, actually start to come through a little bit. And I'm just so ecstatic to be done. I actually went to my agency this week for a casting, and I saw my agent and we had a little catch up, and she said to me to not get any leaner, as then I'd become a fitness model, and there's a fine line between being a fitness model and a fashion model. So here's a good place to stop and hopefully maintain for a little while. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the end of week 6, and today marks the last day of the 6-week cut or 6-week diet. I'm just so glad to be done. It was starting to get a little bit harder towards the last couple of weeks, and I pushed through and I made it. And I just want to have a little chat to you guys about how, if there's something that you want in life, if you have goals that you want to achieve, it's only beyond a thin veil. Like, you can achieve the body that you want, you just have to put your mind to it. You have to remember your why, because ultimately nothing worthwhile is ever easy, and it's all about practicing delayed gratification, knowing that a little bit of pain and discomfort now will result in, I want to say glory, but it's not quite glory, but it will result in satisfaction later on. Now, I hope you found this video / documentary useful, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.
I'm on my own, broken alone. I feel the rain crashing down all around this empty town. I'm searching for the lost and found.